You ready?
So we'll dive right into it. I think our today's YNK podcast is brought to you by change.
Yeah.
A lot of people fear change, but sometimes it's necessary in order to flourish and grow.
It is necessary. It's not sometimes. I mean, you're right. You can't be in a constant state of change, but change, there's a quote like change is the only constant, yet we fear it the most. It's the only constant. It's the only thing like guaranteed in life. It's like things are gonna change. You know what I mean? Whether it's your body, your mind state, where you are, the people around you.
Just like the leaves in fall.
Yeah. And speaking of fall and speaking of change, the Nashville trip is something I wanted to touch on. Um, and this is all kind of about change, you're right. But it's a lot of people are asking when and why. And we're looking for houses right now, and we're gonna be there ASAP. Um, it's gonna be anywhere from like the next 2 to 4 months, I imagine. But um, people wanted to like know why a little bit more, and like honestly, it's interesting. Like I had come across some content talking about change and where leaning into change and how it can bring you down places you've never been before. I feel like that about Nashville. I feel like we're ready to go. This new environment will just bring new great energy and great things for us. So that's one of the main reasons, you know what I mean? Also family, like our family's all on the East Coast. And I'm watching fucking Brielle. I mean, I know personally, you don't have a niece.
I don't, not that I know of.
Yeah. Uh it's just like, dude, I'm just watching her fucking grow up so fast and I can't barely see her, you know, so it sucks. Now we're like an hour and a half away, you know. I could go up there for fucking lunch, come back and be back at dinner, you
That's
know.
true. On the other end of the spectrum, my dad's an old timer. I
Mhm.
believe he's turning 79 this year.
Yeah,
So man, I would love to spend more time with him.
absolutely.
Yeah,
What a guy.
what a guy.
And just being around them, you know, we talked about the LA environment and change. Like, dude, the things I found to be cool and interesting and like important have changed.
Like what?
Like LA no longer serves like the things that like are most important to me and the things I enjoy. Like
Mhm.
there's nothing that Los Angeles as an entity is like, oop, this is bringing so much value to what I care about.
Mhm.
And it's so important to what I care about that I have to be here. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
environmentally, I'm talking more so like socially, um, you know, like it's a it kind of feels like high school in a sense where it's just like the things that kind of mattered then, like the popularity and like who's coming and what parties and all those things, they really do like they are a big undertone of what's going on here. And that's no shade. It's part of the networking thing that LA offers. Like, oh man, LA, you got to be there to network and like meet the right people. And we've been here and we've done that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But there's just something so draining about the social environment here.
People ask me, I've been on a lot of podcasts the past few weeks. Shout out to all the fans that had me on. They asked the same question, why are you moving to Nashville or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I kind of added to what you were just saying. A lot. I believe like the attitude here is very ego driven, especially within the entertainment industry. It's
Absolutely.
all about like, what am I doing? What am I up to? Like whatever. It's very vanity driven as well.
Like what designer, like what clothes is he wearing? Like all this shit, you know, when you think about Nashville and like we've just naturally been kind of implemented there, like with the young country guys are the ones that fuck with my music and reach out to me and like you
Hmm.
guys are gonna see a lot of that's gonna happen.
Hmm.
But like when I go around those dudes and I'm in those areas and I'm in Nashville, like I kind of feel like I fit in. I've never really felt like I fit in Los Angeles. We've become cool with a lot of people and over time have built respect and have a presence here, but
Hmm.
you know what I mean by fitting in. It's just like there's a comfortability about like, oh, we share similar desires. We care about the same things. We like to do the same things, you know?
Hmm.
I go hang out with the young country dudes. Bro, we get it's like it's kind of like just different versions of us in the sense of like what they want to do, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
bro, go out to the fucking bars with some of these big ass country star in Nashville, and there's no security. Like, there's a level of like privacy. We talked about fame in the last episode. There's a level of like there's a level of not privacy, peace that side of town, like in this side of the spectrum, offers to
Mhm.
people in this position, and it's really comforting and inviting for me personally, and that's part of it as well. Plus, financially, like we talk about, we don't talk about wealth a lot or like things we're trying to do business wise, but
You're mentioning a lot of people are getting out of LA for that reason financially.
oh man, there's a mass exodus. Like Joe had a whole segment about it.
Rogan's heading out to Texas.
Yeah,
Going to
he's
Austin, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
like honestly, it wasn't because but I kind of arrived at the decision very similar timing.
Mhm.
It wasn't because of him. It was just I had been kind of getting signs for a long time about it. But there's a mass exodus out of here. There's a huge population problem. There's a huge homeless population problem.
Mhm.
There's a huge financial problem happening, and one of the proposals to fix it is fucking ridiculous, bro. And it's like in motion. It's a tax proposal to take from 40, I think it's in the low 40s, the percentile tax bracket, the top bracket in Los Angeles. There's a proposal in motion to get it to 54.
54%? Yeah, it's insane.
So I'm not even getting the lion's share of my income before expenses,
Mhm.
before anything, you know what I'm saying? Before, so there's just like, look, because of COVID, it's made it very clear that like you no longer, it's not really about where you are. Like the comics, they were around because like, look, we got the Comedy Store, all these amazing places where you'd come and there's
Yep.
a huge culture. For me, I work in my fucking house.
Yeah.
I work with one, two producers or a few producers remotely, one in person. He splits his time in Nashville. He makes a lot of the country music you hear on the radio now.
Mhm.
So there's just all these alignments, you know what I mean? But financially, bro, like I'm getting into a phase where I'm trying to build wealth. Like I'm going into a more like, you know, it's not about like spending on things. I'm trying to like grow wealth
Yep.
and be in a place that's like actually gonna serve that purpose. Like when I talk about LA not serving, I don't want like a huge house and be spending 25K a month and all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then get 54% tax. Like you go to Nashville, there's no income tax. It's crazy. So there's just so many pros and I can't really think of many cons outside of like humidity.
I know. I
You
mean,
know?
a lot of people, I mean, it's the common theme, right? Everyone's like, you should be taxing the rich more
Yeah.
or whatever. And like, that's true to an extent, especially with like, huge companies. It makes sense. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, the saying with communism is give according to your abilities and take according to your needs. And it's kind of, it's almost a system that I don't believe really works in society where, you know, people are kind of all on level playing fields financially, even though some people are, doing, I don't want to say more important things, but
Hmm. I
like
get what you mean.
higher skill level things.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to find like that line. But also to add what you were saying, and it kind of segues into what we're going to talk about next is you were talking about the comedy clubs and like how you know comedians sometimes have to be here because the comedy store is here or whatever. It's not for entertainers, especially. It doesn't really necessarily matter where
Where
you
you
are
are.
anymore, based on um, the access you can give people and the things you can do content wise and how you present it. It almost doesn't even matter where you are. Like you don't have to be in a comedy club to for what 300 people a night to figure out who you are. You can release certain types of content where it can open the door so much wider than that.
Yeah, and it's just like the whole thing. There's a like with comedy, a lot of it has. There's a whole thing where it's like you go see it live.
Yeah.
People work out their shit.
Hmm.
You can't film. It doesn't. It's not built for the internet. Like you
Hmm.
can't film when you're at a comedy club from the crowd
Yeah.
because people are working on their bits for bigger shows and shit.
Hmm.
But like what I'm saying is this whole thing like kind of shifted to where like now comics, your crowd is on the internet.
Yeah.
The whole phase of like working out at comedy stores is obviously on the back burner. So now it's like their income as well. Like they're not touring.
Hmm.
So it now has to go to the internet.
Yep.
And now, and like, obviously it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
So why would you stay in a place where one, you're getting like the short end of the stick financially for the money you do have coming in. And like, look, trust me, I'm in the giving. I don't believe in like amassing billions of dollars and like, look, if I made $1 billion,
I just
I'm giving. But like if I do, bro,
yeah,
I'm giving so much of that away. Like
yeah.
for real, mark my words. Like if that ever
I
happens,
always think myself like at least half. At least
yeah,
half I would just,
at least half.
you
But
know what I
like
mean?
I would do it in a way where like, bro, like legitimately you could figure out like who is everybody who is struggling paycheck to paycheck and just give them fucking money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
like figure out what kind of program could like obviously there's huge hoops you got to jump through for all that. But like, bro, Jeff Bezos since the coronavirus has made like I think since it started, he's made like $20 billion.
Yeah.
He could cure world hunger with what he's made during the coronavirus.
I know.
Period.
So during Corona, he recordedly donated $125 million, which it sounds like a lot, and I know. And actually, like,
They're write-offs.
one, it's a write off. So like,
That's all it is.
it's with the wrong incentive. But you compare it to what other people are doing. Like the guy who created Square, you know that company Square.
Mhm.
I'm gonna botch this, but if you look it up, he gave away like 20 or 30% of his net worth just during this coronavirus time.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
you compare that where like 125 million for Jeff Bezos' net worth, it's like less than
Yeah.
half of
And look,
1%.
it's
And
not
it's not a competition or whatever, but
right.
like if you're gonna do apples and oranges to compare,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, this isn't even about like going after people and what they give. I'm just saying I definitely believe in capitalism. In today's world, look, I've read shit every fucking day about minimalism.
Yep.
Buddhism, Taoism, the shit that I'm into is all about understanding that like the less you have, the less you have to worry about. Like there's like an undertone of like finding the real ultimate peace is like if you're not consumed with like your like more or less we're all kind of every day working for so that we can acquire more things if you really break it down, whether it's
Mhm.
more money, even if it's with great intention. You know, like
Mhm.
we're in this capitalism environment. I don't think that can be reversed. And I believe in capitalism,
Mhm.
but I also try to balance it with like, I don't need that and I don't need that just because he has this. Like, you know what I mean? It helps me shave some of that off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like you read like Gary Vee, or he talks about like he's like I didn't do anything in my 20s. I sacrificed my entire 20s, and I worked every day, and I accumulated wealth. Like I couldn't do that personally. I didn't do that. I did the opposite. I think.
Right. Yeah.
I did like the other end of the spectrum where I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have the best time of my life, and
Totally.
I'll worry about money later.
Totally.
But I think it is about finding the balance between those two things. For
Right.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, just going on change and where our initial topic was, what we wanted to kind of bring up is like, look,
Mhm.
we're making this move. I'm going home. We're going home to see family. We have some things on the docket. We're basically entering a phase. Like, look, the coronavirus shit did change our plans musically because
Mhm.
we had a plan to be set up for a tour at a certain time, and now touring is X'd. And you want to kind of save your project, your album, you want to actually have like an arc.
You want to tour off your album?
You have an arc
Yeah.
to the album and then to the tour,
Mhm.
and that's how things are built properly.
Mhm.
And actually, like
I got that question a lot. When's the album coming out?
yeah, and I get it. Look, we could have put out an album twice already, maybe.
I know. I told everyone, if given different circumstances, it probably would have been out already.
It would have
Yeah.
because I know what our initial dates were, but that problem. Like I have no. That's why I don't talk about it because yeah, we've built this plan and we got a wrench got thrown in it, but everybody had a wrench thrown in their plans, and we actually are in a great position. So there's no ill will towards the whole thing. It's more so basically what's happening is every 5 to 7 weeks we're gonna put out a new record.
Mhm.
All these songs have the potentiality of being on the album. I have so many fucking ideas. I have so many songs. So you guys are gonna be fed I'd say every 5 to 6 weeks,
Mhm.
a new record, and all these are the mic ones are the ones I've been sitting on and building.
Yeah,
Um,
and the last two have been your biggest releases so far,
yeah,
right?
ever
Yeah,
out of the gate, and it's
especially the
not.
last one.
We haven't done any deal. I'm completely independent.
Mhm.
This is another thing I could touch on really quick because I know we've hinted at deals coming. Man, let me tell you, like it was what I was saying about Nashville and LA not necessarily aligning with what I want anymore. Like I'm privy to a lot of famous people. I'm not anywhere near that level of like A-list fame or B-list fame even.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm privy to a lot of these environments. I see how it is. I don't know if I want it, man. Like,
Mhm.
you know this, and we've talked about it on the podcast. A lot of my decisions up till now of being independent and like the decisions we've made and what we spend money on and what we do, it's not about acquiring fame, or the fame is the least important.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's never been something that like my soul really wanted, right? But then I've become more present in LA and had access to some crazy relationships and things, and I see how these motherfuckers are
Yep.
and what it does to you, and just the stress, like, and my soul is taking me like the other way, where I'm like reading about Buddhism and like how I can simplify things,
Yep.
and that's what makes me feel good. And then when I see what they go through, um, the pros aren't like, they don't outweigh the cons. I like to walk down the middle of the beach, bro.
Yeah.
I like to fucking be hung over on the front step with a dip in, like kissing a girl goodbye in the morning, like, you know what I mean?
Would be
Where,
great press though.
yeah, but like that's all cool. What I'm saying is like the privacy and the peace is like where my life and my heart is going.
Mhm.
And I am in an interesting position. I actually love having like middle level fame. I
Mhm.
love it
Yep.
because I do like performing, and I do like, making art and sharing it and having people appreciate it. It makes me feel great.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I get to go and compartmentalize it. Like we talk about balance. I get to go on tour and live that for 3 months. And I'm like, all right, that's enough. Like, I don't want people to be taking pictures of me eating a pizza through the window. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't,
Mhm.
not that I'm bothered by it, but if it was every fucking day, everywhere, I would be,
Yeah, it'd be hard. Mhm.
So we're definitely we're in a position to create a bigger attention, a bigger amount of attention for my music,
Mhm.
right? That's a good way of putting it. Like, we're gonna get in front of more people. But to your point, like, these songs are the biggest ones out of the gate for me ever, and there's been nothing different done. Like, I've had no help. I haven't done a deal. There's been no help to it yet. They're not on playlists and shit.
Mhm.
It's just like
Yeah.
they're bigger. So you guys are doing that, and you guys are understanding and hearing the sound and getting it, which is amazing. So, um, with all that being said, we'll keep you guys plugged in on things as they go down, but we're still an independent train. We're still rocking as we always have,
Mhm.
just raising the bar. I feel like we're more prepared musically, and just even just as people, we're more prepared. So it's an interesting time, but I'm just try to share these things with you guys and share. This is like giving you guys peeks into our lives when we do this weekly, and we love doing it. But getting to our main point of this whole podcast, we want to talk about is basically we have another podcast in progress that I'm so excited about. I'm not going to say it yet. Once we announce it, and it's going to be very soon, I think you guys will be extremely excited too.
Mhm.
It'll be a podcast with someone else that we'll be doing. And we're going to take the You Never Know podcast and make it bi-weekly from here on out. So
Mhm.
it's not every week. And we're also setting up a new set design downstairs where I'm going to have call-in guests, and we're going to get back to guests.
Yeah, I mean, we held off. You've seen a lot of podcasts to, the Zoom calls and
Yeah.
the video conferencing. We've held off for a very long time, but
hmm
yeah,
And look,
it's time to
Kilmer asked me 10 times,
yeah.
like, why don't we do a Zoom? Why don't we do,
Mhm.
and I know when I'm scrolling and I'm fans of podcasts and I see the Zoom shit, I don't like it. It's not nearly the same. It's not nearly as like captivating.
Right.
And I love our podcast too. The shit we sit and chop it up, and that shit really works. When we were doing it bi-weekly, it
Mhm.
was creating a good balance, right? But
Yep.
with the new podcast being introduced, with the move and all the things we've been talking about, and with where commerce is going, we could talk about it a little bit. We've touched on it. We're just sitting and watching and look at the baby. We're just watching it, and assessing it, and I think it, leaning into change again. So we're going into bi-weekly. We are setting up a set design that I'll start having some guests. I'm gonna have a guest from the bubble
Yep.
call in and let us know what the bubble's like. I want to talk to Trevor Bauer. Gonna have him or start getting some guests again, and start. We have to respect coronavirus is still a train wreck here.
Yep.
It's not something we're trying to like promote. So
Mhm.
until it's cleared, that's gonna be something. That's gonna be our guest format. Want to talk a little bit
We
about.
can jump into that after the break. To add what Mike was saying, we have been bi-curious for a while with this podcast, and um, it's for a few reasons. But before we dive into what we're going to talk about next,
Take a little pee break.
well, quick little word from our sponsors. John Kilmer here with a fantastic new product.
Oh yeah.
These are actually good buddies of ours, and it's a brand called Liquid IV. I know you've seen us in the past, especially Mike. He just completely through the trenches the next morning after a long bender, which could have been a day or a week with him. And you've seen him hooked up to an actual IV, which we've done many times. Sometimes at the house, sometimes at a hotel,
On
whatever.
tour usually.
Sometimes on tour. And then you've seen us drink Pedialyte, which is for babies. Let's be honest. So we have here Liquid IV, which are like little flavor packets, and it's essentially just a hydration multiplier. Very similar to, Pedialyte, but I mean, it's meant for adults. It has ingredients for adults, not little babies.
I'll take some of that actually.
And we've honestly been, thanks to Liquid IV, but they've been giving us product the past month or so. I've been using it every day personally.
Yeah, I use it too.
I throw down before I know I'm going to be drinking for a while to keep me hydrated through the bender, and then the next morning I take one down as well. And speaking of someone who's gotten an IV before, speaking of someone who's drinking like a big jug of Pedialyte, this is just such a more convenient way, and the flavors are fantastic. Pedialyte kind of has a funky taste to it.
Yeah.
The flavors are fantastic, and just such a convenient way to just hydrate yourself and feel a lot better without having to stick a needle in your arm or chug a bunch of baby formula.
Yeah. So 2 to 3 times more hydration than water alone.
Yeah.
3 times the electrolytes, 5 essential vitamins. Their claim, the science of it is essentially 1 stick of it is equivalent to what 3 waters would give you in hydration. 3 water bottles. So, look, I just drinking or not, I've gotten into the body dynamics a lot. Like if I watch content,
Same.
some of it's spiritual, but I love learning about the body and the mind, and hydration is like insane for your skin. I've noticed a huge difference. I
do it for my skin because we're getting up there in the years, and I'm starting to see the wrinkles around the eyes. And when I'm just fucking dehydrated and like shitty and hungover, like I look like a bag of shit.
Yeah, but you just got on the skin. Like I've been bullying you to get on.
Yeah,
You're on it now, right?
I just started. Yeah, but hydration is probably one of the biggest components. Is just drinking.
Yeah,
and it's work. It's work to drink a lot of water every day. I mean, you think of like how many ounces you have to drink a day, or what's recommended.
Yeah,
it's like what 100 and 150, 200 ounces, which is insane.
I just got on the water train heavy the last like year. Like Blue was on it before me. I found great water. This Flow Water, my boy's company. It's not an ad, but yeah. I mean, dude, look. What I'm saying is, drinking or not, like having one of these is actually dope.
Yeah,
it's helpful.
And they put out other products as well. It's not just the hydration multipliers. They actually have an energy multiplier, which I honestly use it as pre-workout at this point, but it doesn't have like those like jittery ingredients that just make you feel like you're on crack.
Yeah.
It just has like I want to say it has matcha in it if you're into like matcha green tea, and just a bunch of other ingredients. So it doesn't give you like those like weird jitters that pre-workout does. So that's I definitely recommend this as well. Even if it's just the morning and just not getting the coffee jitters and just having something like organic in your blood, or just doing a workout is really good. So we're gonna jump in the next part of the conversation, but we're gonna take a piss first.
Okay,
let's do it.
Let's drain it.
We'll be right back with You Never Know, You Know What I Mean, right after this urination break.
All right, let's cut the shit. John Kilmer here with a fantastic new product. You just heard us talking about it on the show, Liquid IV. If you want to get it for yourself, go to liquidiv.com, use promo code YNK to get 25% off anything in the store and your entire order. That's promo code YNK at liquidiv.com. We use it here at the ranch when we're getting pounded every night. Your ass might get drunk, our asses get pounded. So use Liquid IV when your ass gets pounded to hydrate and to feel better and to feel your best self. That's promo code YNK at liquidiv.com. Fellas, John Kilmer here with a fantastic new product. Now, we all know that our hair is very important to our image. It's who we are, it's part of our identity. We like to comb it nice before we take a lady on a nice sultry evening on the town. But unfortunately, as we get older, the shit starts to fall out. Our friends at Keeps have never made it more simple to keep your hair. Now, 2 out of 3 men start to experience male pattern baldness before the age of 35. So don't fall into that statistic. And our friends at Keeps have never made it more simple. This is what happens. You have a consultation online with a doctor and you get the medication sent to your door every 3 months. You used to have to wait in pharmacy lines, have awkward doctor visits, but no more, never again. And it's as little as $10 a month. Now, we have a very special deal for you today. If you go to keeps.com/YNK, you get your first month for free. You heard it here, folks. KEEPS.com/YNK. You get your first month for free. All right, let's get back to the show. So adding to the, when we were talking about content and we were talking about before, girls are making a fucking killing right now on OnlyFans.
Killing.
Fucking killing. We won't name any names.
Yeah.
But a girl we know just said she made $40K in a month. And a girl you said you knew made $8K in a day.
Yeah. Like,
which is insane.
Cute, real cute girl, like not a huge following, not an influencer at all. Just like has like 20,000 followers.
8K in a day.
Yeah, it was like 8K over like 2.5 days, she said. But like, it's actually a fucking awesome thing. It's awesome for girls. Think about it. Girls have been, more or less like objectified sexually. Everyone loves fucking, there's more people watching porn or even just shit in that vein than anything else, and like women are always the object of like, look how sexy and beautiful. But now they're just getting fucking paid for it.
Yeah.
They're getting rich. Like, and they have the biggest market because there's a never ending line of horny guys. And it's just like this whole dynamic of like guys wanting to see girls that they know or at least like follow as people a little bit.
Yeah.
And then see them go this way. And like, all the girls I've spoke to, like, I don't even do anything very sexual.
Yeah.
Like, it's just more like personalized and like there's an element of like connectivity that people want, intimacy with these girls, and they're monetizing it. So it's dope.
That is dope.
I actually know a girl, just staggering numbers, almost 200 grand a month.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
You know a girl that makes $200K a month on OnlyFans?
Yeah, like close to 200K a month.
God.
Like, dude, so it's just like, it's fucking amazing. But I really want to talk about this. I talked about it a little bit in like the future of commerce, right? Coronavirus made it so unbelievably clear that like there's so much uncertainty. Anything you've been working for your job and studying for this and you get a promotion, all that shit, anything can change at the mercy of nature.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is like, think about, you have all these skilled people all over the world. There's so many skilled people in so many different fields. They had their place of work where they would go and people would fucking pay them for their service.
Yep.
So now those places of work are no longer, even when it does go back to normal, when I'll put air quotes around normal, it's still not going to be what it was before for a long time, where like people aren't going to be going out in groves to everywhere like it used to be. So what's the future of commerce? You have a skill, anything you can do. If you're the best painter or anything, food critic, fucking, you make the best tables. You make the most delicious cakes.
I think it's beyond skill, though. To be honest with you, you know what I mean. It could be skill, knowledge, just your like,
spirit, like
entertainment,
coaching,
whatever, anything,
entertainment,
anything,
singing,
anything uniquely that you bring to the table that people are drawn to. Anything.
This is the future of commerce. Period.
Yep.
And the dividends, the payouts are so much better for you as the person who is offering the service. Let's just call it service, even if it's not.
Yep.
Like there was a girl over this morning talking about, she's like a poppin' actress, right? we were talking about this shit. It's just like she's actually like crazy spiritual. She's been meditating since she was like 7 or 8 years old. She grew up on an Indian reservation.
Wow.
So like crazy spiritual, and kind of feels like her purpose would be like to help or to just like, like touch people's lives and share some of this shit. She's been through crazy shit. But like even her just sitting in front of a camera, she's a beautiful girl, sitting in front of a camera and just talking, and not even about her looks, forget her looks. Just like if she has these amazing things and spirituality to offer, that's her service. But like instead of you go on YouTube for about 1 million views, you get less than $1,000. Where she would fucking get, she would do probably 20K a week doing the same shit she do on YouTube with more work.
Yep.
And with a way higher fucking need for a much bigger reach.
Yeah.
So, it's one of these things where, we're businessmen. We look at it like, we're not fucking podcast. Like, we're not news podcasters. Like, what's going on this week? And like, yes, we've done that because, look, we got thrown a curveball with coronavirus, and we just wanted to keep the train moving.
We're a rare case in the podcast world where this is just a piece of your puzzle.
Right.
It's a piece of all of our puzzle.
Yeah.
And, we don't wake up every day and say we're podcasters. You know what I mean?
It's not that.
And we love it. We love that we get the chance to connect with people and let people know who we are. And that's the best part of it. But at the end of the day, you're Mike the musician first.
Absolutely.
Mike the lover second. And then maybe Mike the podcaster.
The businessman third. But also, like, what my favorite thing about podcasting is when I got into spirituality and shit, like, I realized, like, life, I was looking at life like, what can I get from it? Like, get, what can I do if I'll do this? What can I get? Where will I get? Give me why when something bad happens, why I do everything right, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, this whole entitlement to how people look at life and how I was looking at life. And then I realized giving is actually more rewarding, and you actually get because you give. And, I definitely always had an undertone of that, but I didn't really understand that. And now when I clicked for me, I'm like, the podcast made so much sense. My favorite part of the podcast is being able to offer any help for fucking kids or people who, for whatever reason, they're drawn to us and want that from us and think we can help. And I hope it never comes off as preaching. This is the furthest thing from preaching. We kind of talk through, like, a lot of this shit. Like, even when you look at my Twitter, like, I hope it doesn't come off as preaching, but I come at these realizations and I share them because I'm drawn to share them, and I feel like I can help. It can help. I knew if I read that when I was 24, I would have liked to hear that from one of my favorite musicians or whatever.
Yeah.
And that servitude is what I want to do. And it really is the key focal point of like what I feel like I bring with this podcast, especially with the guests. When I sit with the guests, I try to bring that out. Why did you get here? How did you get here? What did you learn? How can you guys apply it? How can you get in the seat one day?
Yep.
And that's what I want to gear it towards. I want to gear this when we don't have guests. I want to gear, like, we do it already with the Steve Hotline, but we're going to take it to another level, and we're going to monetize it. We're talking about all these things and where commerce is going. This is what we want to do, and there's going to be a lot more than just taking your calls and answering the best we can. But I want that to be the focal point of the sit downs when. If you want to fucking come on and chug a beer with us, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same tone. We want to talk about shit going on in the house, cool. But we want to do it for our core fans and the people that are actually dialed in. And like, look, I think having sit downs where we could talk about real shit to like 300 people live, in a whatever, whatever the format's gonna be, but it's going to be like a pay subscription type service, and that will be what, bi-weekly.
That'll be bi-weekly on the days we're not doing the podcast episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, it's not even, I don't even think it has to be scheduled amongst those, within those structures, like within Bravo, and that's what we're going to be using. Essentially, like, we can, whenever we have something to share, we can hop on there and fire it out to everyone who subscribes, but there will be also time. What is the best process? We're going to, essentially what we're trying to do is create a hotline where we sit down, drink beers, and
Yeah,
answer your
I can
questions.
elaborate a little bit. So, I mean, I'm sure you see on the beginning of all of our podcasts, if you're listening on the audio side, that we're constantly pushing the Bravo app. We've done a lot of stuff with them. We did win a free trip to the ranch, and some fans came out and whatever. So a lot of you already have the Bravo app. We're going to start implementing it with what Mike was just talking about. And if you have the app already, just make sure you update it because they just added a bunch of new features. If you haven't gotten it yet, just make sure you download the Bravo Pay app. And our page will be uh, at YNK podcast, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You can look
behind the
that
scenes,
up.
we're gonna do it. It will be specific. It will be content only you have, and will never be public content. But we're gonna do like kind of an element of a vlog in a sense too within this, where we can, if there's shit going on, like we do film a lot of it. Like we're gonna actually, because I don't want to be a YouTuber and a vlogger, and like I said, the dividends aren't really like for the amount of time it would take. It's not really something that makes tons of sense as far as a return on investment.
hmm
But with this structure, it will, and I think you guys will get dope shit. Also, like sharing, like I'll have a mic one at some point where I share sneak peeks of songs, show my process, and just hop on and talk if I got things to say too. But
hmm
it will be. What I'm saying is, when we come out with podcasts, I want it to be special. You know what I mean? And I
hmm
think we have a special product with the sit downs, and I think we have a special vibe when we sit down and bullshit. So those will still happen occasionally, but mainly will be a focal point on bringing guests back on, and we are launching another podcast that will have a huge element of like the chopping it up and the
hmm
guys talk and all that, and that's going to be really really fun. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that covers most of it.
Yeah. I mean, elaborate even a little further with the Bravo Pay app. It's set up very similarly to Patreon. It's set up very similarly to those type of monthly subscription formats. But um, one, we're very close with the company. We're actually a part of the company, and two, like we like it because they're taking such a smaller percentage from creators. Mike was just saying about how YouTube. I mean, you're making hundreds of dollars per millions of views, which is just outrageous. Especially as a creator, it's outrageous. Whereas, and you look at Patreon, who takes around 15% from the creators. You look at
OnlyFans takes 20.
OnlyFans takes 20% from the creators. Bravo's taking 5% from the creators. So that's why we were drawn to them. They just released this whole new part of their app where creators can do monthly subscriptions, which is what we're going to do with the podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, like on the weeks we're not doing the episodes, like Mike said, similar to the Steve hotline, we're going to set up something similar to like a Zoom call with all you guys, and whoever's part of the monthly subscription will get the private login to these bi-weekly hangouts. And we're gonna get to, it's gonna be way more personal than what we did in the past with Steve hotline, and with anything else we've ever done. We're gonna be able to talk to
Yeah.
a bunch of you guys every other week.
Yeah.
You're gonna get to hang out, drink beers with us, ask questions. It's just going to be much more personal.
The Zoom element's really fucking cool in the sense of like could be fucking 300 of you guys in a call with us, and 10, 15 of you guys get in there and actually get on, ask a question or do whatever, so
hmm
it is just creating like a higher access point for you guys, and it's also like conserving, and it feels like I want to make sure when we put out a piece of content and it's a podcast and it's public, I just want it to feel special, and I don't want it to feel redundant. We don't want to be like news, weekly current event podcasters per se,
hmm
like we're going to kind of turn this focus on service and kind of just being connected with you guys and catering to the people that really fucking care about us.
Yeah,
And
you brought up a good point a while ago on like the reason why this podcast has been so rewarding for us was because you look back in the day, touring's boring was kind of like a peek into our lives, and you got to really like find out who we are, and we haven't really done that in a while.
mhm,
And since there was almost like a void, before we did the podcast where we didn't really have that outlet
mhm.
to do that,
Yeah.
and
I
that,
mean, dude, and like Torrance Bourne, I was going to bring it up. It's interesting you say, like, this vlog that we're going to, like, I think that's going to be a huge winner in this. This is going to be the shit you guys really love, along with like kind of the hangouts and the Steve Hotline shit. It's just like it's going to have that touring's boring tone, less like ratchet, and because we're not on tour, but like anytime there's things going on, we'll be able to like put pieces of content together for you guys, just for you, for the people who fucking want to be involved.
Mhm.
And another point, like it's not going to be an expensive thing.
No,
You know what I mean? It's going to
no.
be like $10 or something. You know, I
At
don't
the
even.
most, yeah,
Yes.
tops.
And you'll be getting, you know, a handful of content per month, but it'll all be exclusive to you.
Mhm.
But yeah, access is what I think is like one of the better things we can offer you.
Mhm.
When I look at my DMs, it's all questions and it's all things. You know, it's not like a rapper's DMs you would ever expect. It's a lot. It's actually like pretty crazy, and I take a lot of time to go and answer some, but I can't answer most.
I know.
So this is a chance for you guys, the people who really need and want and are drawn to us and want to talk to us, to actually get that shot.
Yeah. And it's gonna be exactly the same vibe as we had when we did the Steve Hotline. Like, it's gonna have some serious elements, and it's gonna have some fun
Sure,
elements.
whatever you
You
guys
know,
want it to be.
yeah, no,
But
it's gonna be whatever you want it to be. Like, we're gonna be hanging out, we're gonna be drinking. A girl called me a couple nights ago asking for OnlyFans management advice,
love that.
which is hilarious.
Probably a category you can dive into.
Exactly. Like, actually, it made me like gave me such a sense of fulfillment that someone would even come to me for that type of advice.
Yeah,
And we sat there and we had like a 20-minute business call on how she can further find success in her OnlyFans page. And like,
love that.
and that's the type of like access we want to give you guys, where like you can just come and ask us anything, and we can literally just chop it up and be as authentic and genuine as possible.
I mean, Kilmer's going on every single fan who has a podcast. Kilmer goes on,
yeah, I've been
which that's just fucking cool. But that goes to show you like what, like genuinely, like bro, he's going on podcasts with no following. It's not to grow ours. It's not to grow his. It's nothing. It's giving. It's servitude,
yeah,
and it's in its own way, and it's fun for him. But like that's kind of what I'm trying to say is like it really is kind of an undertone of like the whole purpose of this.
yeah,
And yes, we're businessmen. Yes, we're very much into capitalism, and we both want to. Everyone under this house is, wants their own success and wants to be fucking breadwinners for their family and for their loved ones. So there's an element to that, but look, what I'm saying is like, yes, anytime we're like gonna take a piece of content away publicly and say you gotta pay for it, I understand there can be a feeling of that, but look, we're actually gonna have more content than you're already getting. Like we're launching
hmm
a podcast that has the potentiality of being like a really impactful one.
hmm
And if you really want it, you're gonna have a way better access point to us, and I think it's a win-win. So
yep,
we appreciate y'all. There will still be certain times when we go do certain things and something wants to be said. We'll still have those hangouts for the general public, but they'll just be way less often.
yeah,
And yeah, I think it's an exciting. It's in this whole theme of change, and as always, we'll just assess as we go. And I think it's going to be really successful, and I think you guys are going to actually feel like this is a great. This is the great return on my fucking $10. So
And just to add to it, I mean, it's a lot of musicians are, and I'm not talking about you because I mean,
yeah,
you've been blessed to like have such a high success within what you've been doing,
right,
but like a lot of musicians are just really struggling now because they can't
yeah,
tour. I mean, touring. I mean, what
yeah.
percentage do you think of their income is for most musicians?
Well, look, most 95% of the musicians you're aware of, maybe 90, I would say 95 though.
hmm
The one, like if you know of them, they have a record deal. And look, just to fucking pull the curtain back, like you're getting 15, 18% of your record income
Yeah,
if
which
you do a
is
record
not
deal.
good.
And if you don't do a deal, you're getting like, I'm getting in the high 60s.
Yeah.
So like what I'm saying is for regular like for regular, let's call them regular, just if they went the typical kind of route of being in a record deal, their majority of their actual liquidity and their money, like actual liquid cash, comes from fucking touring
Yeah.
and public appearances. And you're an entity as a public figure, and you pay the price for fame, but you go get paid to go show up and do do shit. And
all
now
that stripped
all
away
that's gone.
for a year, over a year. It's just stripped away. So I mean, I think you're going to see this a lot more, not just from us, but a lot of musicians, a lot of creators. They're gonna go. We're just kind of ahead of the game. I want to say a little bit, but a lot of people are going to be doing this because there's just a giant void in the entertainment industry now, and people kind of have to, adjust
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, this is where commerce is going, and it's not about public figures.
Mhm.
The best fucking mechanic can be on Bravo in a year from now, showing motherfuckers how to fix their flat tires
Mhm.
in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's where it's going. We hope you guys hop on board. We'll assess it as we go.
Mhm.
We think we'll bring a lot of value.
Yeah, so definitely get the app. We are at YNK Podcast on the Bravo platform. Just make sure you download the app or you update it if you already have it. And yeah, I think just to give a timeline on it, we're a couple weeks away from from starting this. So
Awesome. I'm fired up for it.
fired up too.
Fired up to touch base with more of you guys, and it's always my favorite part of the podcast. We get to like talk to just Steve's out there. So
I think it's going to be set up similar to this, where we can actually set up microphones
yeah,
and like look at the screen and actually talk to people like we do at the
Absolutely.
podcast. But it's just going to be so
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fucking great.
so interactive. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole new setup. The set design we're talking about is gonna be cool. So like, they won't be your typical Zoom. You'll see what I mean,
Mhm.
but it will feel cooler. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Any sign offs?
No, we got a new record in the pipeline. I think Ben Thinking's been out exactly 2 weeks. I appreciate you guys. Love, that's been my best performer in the first 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And we got, like I said, it'll be every 4 to 5 weeks we'll have new songs. So I think there's a song in the pipeline. It takes a bit as far as the upload to the distribution channels.
Mhm.
But and I'd say in anywhere from the next 3 to 4 weeks, this new record will hit, and I think it's awesome. But it will be tons of that. So we're excited, man. I appreciate you guys, and stay safe, keep rocking, stay positive.
Yeah, and for all the ladies, I will have my own Bravo if you need management advice on your OnlyFans accounts. You could be making a lot more money than you think you can.
Sure can.
So I think I might launch my own agency.
Yeah.
I think I'll be the first of its kind.
Yeah, I think so too.
So holler for $1.
Yeah.
That's our saying. I'm working on it. I'm workshopping it.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it. Especially if you charge $1. That's so funny.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. Well, marinate on it. Let's,
Marinate on it.
All right. Cheers.
See ya.